Tonight's video is going to look at some strategies for taking the SOL that's coming up in about 10 days. The test is divided into two parts. The first day will be a multiple choice, and we'll talk more about that later. But tonight I want to talk a little bit about strategies for taking the prompted writing test. We're going to work on this over the course of the next few days in class. Tonight I want to give you an overview of the strategies, take some good notes, and then we'll talk more about these in class. The first really important thing that you need to think about when you start taking a writing test is that the writing they're asking you to do is not the same kind of writing that you're doing in class. It's really fake writing or writing on demand. So a lot of the things that you do when someone hands you a topic and says go are going to be really different from the kinds of things that we're doing in class as far as conferencing and revision. This is not a multi-draft paper. It is a single on-demand shot, and there's nothing more you can do about that. You can't approach these writing tests the same way you think about writing anything else in your life. And so there's some tips that I kind of want you to think about. And this is important. The first thing is, even though this is nonfiction, and I know that we have been talking about nonfiction for days now, on the test, if they ask you to tell about a time, they're not going to know if it's true or not. They don't care if it's true or not. You want to think of something you can write well. If you can't think of anything true, make something up as long as it is believable. It's fake writing. The second thing to remember is that specific reasons and solid examples are the oxygen of any opinion. And we've talked and talked and talked about this. You've had a couple of videos on how to add specific reasons. Remember that anything you say, any kind of an opinion you express, you're going to have to back it up with some kind of an example or a reason. Another point that's critical to remember, and this is true of any kind of writing test, your first sentence and your last sentence are the most important sentences in the test, because the first sentence sets them up. It's the first impression. It gives them a hint so that they think, this person can really write. And the last sentence is the last thing they're going to remember when they sit down to grade your paper. You want to leave them with something positive. And finally, you want to pick something that you can get into. I realize that a prompt is a prompt, and you maybe aren't going to pick that as what you would pick to write about, but go back up to my very first thing, that it doesn't care if it's not true or not, as long as it's believable. Pick a topic you can get into. The writing's going to be better. All right, I have an easy peasy process to help you do well with any kind of prompted or fake writing. This will serve you for end of course tests. This will serve you for AP exams. This will serve you for your SAT exam. To do well, you need a fake writing process, and that writing process is A, B, C, D. The A is for attack the prompt. This is a prompt. This is one of the prompts that some of you could see on this year's test. Think about how daily life, from reading to playing games to communicating with others, has changed over the past 100 years because of technology. Using specific details and examples, explain how these advancements in technology have changed daily life. Notice there's a lot of words, and they're there for a reason. They want to confuse you. They want to lead you off topic if they can. My A, attack prompt, is to help you not get lost. A, the first thing you're going to do is circle any words in the prompt that ask you to do something. They're usually verbs, so they want you to think. They want you to use. They want you to explain. Okay? Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to draw a line from the word, the action words you just circled, to what they're asking you to do. They want you to think about daily life. They want you to think about changes. They want you to use details. They want you to use examples. They want you to explain advancements. They want you to explain change in daily life. Under the prompt, you're going to rewrite and number the circled words. Okay? The think about piece is an introduction, and it doesn't really give you very much about the specific prompt. Whenever you come across words like think or vague words like that, that's your introduction. You don't want to worry about that. So let me erase this piece of it for you. Your prompt actually begins right here. Come on. My power's out tonight, and I'm doing this by candlelight. Here's where the prompt begins. Here's where the prompt ends. So they've asked you to use specific detail, use details and examples. They've asked you to explain how advancements in technology change daily life. Okay? If I was going to rewrite this, I would rewrite it as use details and examples to explain how technology has changed daily life. There is your prompt without all of the garbage, without all the distractors. Use details and examples to explain how technology has changed daily life. Okay? Now that you've got it unpacked, now it's time to brainstorm. I'm going to go back a minute and I'm going to look at what I rewrote. Maybe I'll put it up here so we can see it without flipping back and forth. Use examples and specific details to explain how technology has changed daily life. All right? This particular prompt only has one part. I have to explain. Okay? So I'm going to start with brainstorming with changes from technology. Okay? It's changed how we communicate. It's changed how we read. How else has it changed? Let me think. It's changed how we buy things. It's changed how we socialize. Can you think of any other ways how it has changed us? Just for the shortness of this, I'm going to stop here. All right? Here are some possibilities of how technology has changed. Now, they want examples and details. An example of how technology changes how we communicate. Email, fax machines, texting. Okay, how does it change how we read? Well, We can read ebooks, Kindle, and Nook. How does it change how we buy? Well, we can shop online. We can shop 24/7. We can compare prices more easily. We have a wider variety. How do we socialize? Skype? Facebook? Blogs? All right, this is hard to read, I understand, but now here's all the things. It asks me to talk about how my daily life changed from technology. It changes the way I communicate through email, fax, and texting. It changes how I read, ebooks, Kindle, Nook. I can carry around 6 or 8 books at the same time. It changes how I buy things. I can shop online. I can compare prices more easily. I can shop 24/7. I can shop a much wider variety of brands and stores. And finally, it changes how we socialize because we can Skype with people that live far away. We can blog with people. We could also do Facebook. Something that also occurred to me is it changes how we learn. YouTube, online learning. Okay, so I've brainstormed. I have a lot to say here. Now I'm going to go to the C, which is to choose the order. Think about it as a map. When you drive to an unfamiliar place, you find a map and you plug it into the GPS so you have some idea of where you're going. This fake writing process, A, B, C, D, is unfamiliar territory for you. So you need to sketch a map or a graphic organizer of how you want the information to go. So this means you have to decide what's going to go first, second, next, last, what transitions you're going to use to get the reader from idea A to idea B, and what details you're going to include. Maybe I'm going to begin with communication. That's going to be the first thing. And I'm going to include the details of email. I'm going to include the detail of texting. And I'm also going to include faxing. Those are 3 pretty good examples. Then I think I'm going to include shopping. And under there, I'm going to include how it gives me more variety, that I can shop, it's more convenient, that it's easier to compare prices. Then I think I'm going to talk about how it's improved the way I socialize, or it's changed the way we socialize. I'm going to put Skype. I'm going to put blogs. I'm going to put Facebook. I think when I go from communicating, I'm going to say another here, another way. Not only does it change how I shop, but how I socialize. And then here I think I'm probably going to put learn, not read. And in here, I'm going to put the transition word finally. And then this is going to be my conclusion. I've mapped out my whole paper. Now all I have to do is write directly from my map. My lead here. This is my first paragraph. This is my next paragraph or 2. My next paragraph. My next paragraph, and my concluding paragraph. The D is for detecting errors. Once you've written that rough draft from your map, and you made any revisions, and by revisions, I give you the little word star. These are the actions that people do when they revise. No matter what you talk about doing, it's one of these 4 things. The S stands for substitute. You take out a weak verb and you add an action verb. You take out a list of adjectives and you add a participle. You take out a list of adjectives and you substitute a prepositional phrase. Okay? T is for take out. You decide not to include this information, you take it out. You decide not to talk about the reading because you don't have enough concrete details. T is for take it out. Maybe you need to add. You get your paragraphs written and you realize that there really aren't enough specific details under the passage about how technology has changed the way we learn. You're going to have to go in and add details, add describers, add concrete verbs. And finally, the R is for rearrange. Maybe you change your mind and you want to rearrange and put the first paragraph last and the last paragraph first. STAR are all of the actions you're going to think about once you get that rough draft written. You're going to think about all of the strategies that we've been talking about. You're going to think about, do I have a thesis statement? Do I have specific details? Remember, that was in your prompt. Have I added specific examples? That was from CDE. Are there places I can clarify? That would be an add. Are there places that I can describe? That would be an add or a substitute. Remember, are there places where I can put action verbs in? That would be substitute. All of the strategies